Hello, this is RV Vagabond Jerry, and today I'm in Richmond, Virginia. And one thing I want to show you here is the Hollywood Cemetery, which has some outstanding features. And the name Hollywood came from the fact that there are a lot of holly trees on the property. There's a really good write-up of it in Wikipedia, so I'll give a link to that below the video in the description box. So let's walk around and take a look at it. Right at the gates here where you go in is a small mansion. I always wonder what's at the very top of these big mansion type buildings or castles. So there's the sign, and right across the street here is their chapel for people who want on-site services. Just a little ways down, they have a fountain here in case you just want to sit down and do whatever. Now this pyramid is by far the largest feature of the cemetery. And as you're driving around the streets outside the cemetery, you can see the top half of it. And when I first saw it, my first thought was, okay, who needed to be buried in a pyramid? There are graves all around it, but I don't think there's anybody buried inside the pyramid. This tells who erected it, and then here is why they erected it. Dedication here to the Confederate women. Beside it are just some small grave markers, and it is a tall and slender pyramid. I bet the ladies appreciate that. Most of the grave markers here are pretty small, with a few tall ones here and there. But Watkins and Whitehead needed something larger to fit, I guess, what their family wanted. And when I see a really unusually tall one amongst the others, it always makes me wonder if it was the person who died who specified he wanted a certain type of monument, something larger than everyone else has around him, or if that was just a family decision afterwards. And look at this. Rawls has a whole island to himself. This whole island in the cemetery. No other graves are here. Just his. I wonder why. I wonder if this guy was a tree trimmer. And that's maybe why that's what he wanted to be buried at. Interesting. This is the burial site of Confederate President Jefferson Davis. And also, somewhere else here are the graves of President James Monroe and President John Tyler. Davis's daughter is also buried here. And next to his daughter Margaret is her husband. That's to the left of him, and to the right of Davis is his other daughter. And there's about 15 of these big, I forget what you call them when they're in its own building like that. Is that what you call a crypt? This couple has got something really special. A long concrete bench where you can sit there and look at their grave. I wonder who Louis Ginter is and why he got such a large, elaborate grave marker. Well, as you look over the grave sites here, you can sure tell who the wealthy people are who can afford such elaborate grave monuments. That one looks like the Washington Monument in D.C. And if you wonder who deserves such a tall one, it is this man, Mr. Allison. I've been to a lot of cemeteries, but I don't think I've seen one designed like this. That's some really nice work. By the way, this cemetery was started in 1849. Got a really nice cherry blossom tree here. Here's a section for the Talbot family with Charles Talbot in the middle there with a real tall monument. What's that on top? A picture? Not sure. This is what I want. An angel crying over my death. Now this says that this building is a chapel, although you go inside and I don't see a chapel anywhere. All I see is these crypts. I've looked all around it and I don't see a door to a chapel. All the way around is just these crypts. Now some of the people who live here are fortunate enough to have a really good view of the rapids on the river here, which is right behind the mausoleum and right across the railroad tracks. And there's a hiker and there's a bench. I don't know how you get down there. I don't know if you can get there from here. Those rapids on the river, very interesting. They go for quite a long way here. You can also bicycle the trail here. I wonder if Stokes and Wilson were neighbors in real life. Now here's a really unusual one. It says it's husband and wife of the Owens. But what did Barris have to do with it? Huh. Well folks, I don't know about you, but I find it interesting going through some of these really old cemeteries. It's kind of interesting the way the grave sites vary from one person to another. You got small headstones like this, even very simpler plate ones like that, and then you got larger monuments and much larger monuments in some places. I've done several cemetery videos on my YouTube channel here, so let me know if you like them or if you just want to kind of forget about cemeteries. Good day, folks.